What if the one word you keep repeating to stop your toddler from hitting is actually the reason it keeps happening? Imagine this. You're at the playground. Your toddler suddenly hits another child. Every head turns. You rush in and say it again. The same thing you've said 100 times before. No, we don't hit. You say it calmly. Sometimes you say it firmly. Sometimes you even pick them up and carry them away while other parents watch. And yet, somehow, the hitting keeps happening. If you've ever walked away from a moment like that, wondering why your child didn't listen, you're not alone. Many parents believe repeating no is the right way to stop aggressive behavior. It feels logical, it feels responsible. But here's the surprising part. That word you've been relying on might actually be making the problem worse. That might sound backwards at first. After all, no is supposed to set boundaries. But there's a reason rooted in brain science that explains why toddlers keep hitting even after hearing no again and again. And the truth is, it has nothing to do with your child being defiant, and it certainly doesn't mean you're a bad parent. Instead, it has everything to do with how a toddler's brain works in the moment when big emotions take over. And once you understand that, you'll see why a different approach works so much better. In fact, there's a simple 3-step method you can start using immediately, even the next time hitting happens, whether that's tomorrow, later today, or maybe even in the next few minutes. Because the goal isn't just to stop the hands. The real goal is to teach the heart. When your toddler hits someone, their survival brain has taken control. This is the part of the brain responsible for detecting threats and activating the fight or flight response. It's the same system that makes adults jump back when they hear a loud noise or feel their heart race during a stressful moment. For toddlers, that system is incredibly powerful and incredibly fast. The moment they feel frustrated, angry, overwhelmed, or scared, their survival brain takes over instantly. And when that happens, the thinking part of the brain, the part responsible for reasoning, understanding consequences, and processing language, essentially goes offline. Think of it this way. Trying to teach a toddler a lesson while their survival brain is activated is a bit like trying to teach someone algebra while they're running away from a bear. Their brain isn't in learning mode, it's in survival mode. And that's exactly the state your toddler is in when they lash out and hit. So when we respond by saying no, we're actually asking their brain to do something it physically cannot do in that moment. The word no creates a kind of mental void. It tells them what they shouldn't do, but it doesn't tell them what they can do instead. For a toddler, that creates a complicated mental puzzle. In order for no to work, your child would have to stop their action, process the word, remember what it means, connect it to what they're doing, override their emotional impulse, and then choose a different behavior, all in a split second. That's a lot to ask from a brain that's still learning basic impulse control. What often happens instead is something very different from what parents expect. Your toddler hears the word no, but what they actually notice most is your reaction. Your voice gets louder, your face changes, your body moves quickly toward them. Suddenly, the entire moment becomes big, intense, and full of attention. And strangely enough, that reaction can sometimes reinforce the behavior you're trying to stop. From your toddler's perspective, hitting suddenly creates a powerful response from the most important person in their world, you. It brings attention, energy, and emotion into the moment. And for a toddler who doesn't yet have the words to say things like, "I'm frustrated," or "I need help," or "I don't like this," a big reaction can feel like the only effective way to communicate. So instead of learning not to hit, they accidentally learn something else. Hitting gets a response. And for a child who feels powerless in many situations, that response can even feel a little bit like control. But here's the important part. When toddlers hit, they aren't being malicious. They aren't trying to manipulate you. They aren't testing your patience on purpose, and they certainly aren't broken. They're communicating the only way they know how. Your toddler experiences huge emotions: frustration when a toy is taken, anger when something doesn't go their way, fear in unfamiliar situations, disappointment when playtime ends. Those feelings can be overwhelming for a little body and brain that hasn't yet learned how to manage them. Developmental neuroscience shows us that the part of the brain responsible for impulse control won't fully mature until the mid-20s. That means toddlers are operating with a brain that's still under construction when it comes to managing strong feelings. They also don't yet have the emotional vocabulary adults rely on every day. When you feel upset, you might say something like, "I'm really frustrated right now." That sentence helps you release tension and explain your feelings to others. But your toddler doesn't have that ability yet. When anger or frustration builds up inside them, they don't have words to release it. What they do have are their hands, their feet, and their voice. So hitting becomes their attempt to communicate something important. "I don't like this," "I'm overwhelmed," or "this feeling is too big and I need help." And this moment, the moment that they act out, is actually one of the most powerful teaching opportunities you have as a parent, because the neural pathways responsible for emotional skills are forming right now. Each time your child experiences a strong emotion and you respond to it, their brain is learning something. It's either learning the skills needed to manage emotions, or it's strengthening patterns that don't work as well. That's why what you say in that moment matters so much. Instead of relying on no, there's a simple 3-step approach that both stops the hitting and teaches the emotional skills your child will use for the rest of their life. The first step is to stop the action with calm physical safety. If your toddler raises their hand to hit, gently but firmly block the movement. You might catch their hand or step between them and the other child. If needed, create a little distance between them and the situation. The key here is your energy. Stay calm. Keep your voice low. Keep your body steady. You're not punishing them. You're simply creating safety. Then say something slightly different from what most parents say. Instead of "don't hit," say "I won't let you hit." That small shift in language makes a big difference. When you say "I won't let you hit," you're taking responsibility for maintaining safety instead of placing that burden entirely on your toddler. You're acknowledging that they may not have the ability to stop themselves yet, and that's okay. Your message becomes clear. Your feelings are allowed, but hurting someone is not. Once the action has been safely stopped, the second step begins. Name the feeling. In this moment, you become your child's emotional translator. You put simple words to the feeling they're experiencing. You might say something like, "You're mad," or "You're frustrated," or "You really wanted that toy." The words should be short, simple, and as accurate as possible. Think about how helpful it feels when someone understands your emotions during a stressful moment. If a friend says, "You seem really frustrated," it can instantly make you feel seen and understood. Your toddler needs that same experience. They just can't create it for themselves yet. When you name the feeling, something powerful happens inside their brain. Their survival response begins to calm down, and the thinking part of their brain slowly starts coming back online. At the same time, you're building their emotional vocabulary. Over time, these repeated experiences help them recognize and name their own feelings instead of immediately acting them out physically. Then comes the third step. Guide them toward what they can do. After naming the emotion, give your child an alternative action that meets the same need without hurting anyone. You might say, "It's okay to be mad, but hands are not for hitting." Then immediately show them another way to release that feeling. You could say, "If you need to let it out, push your palms together really hard like this," while demonstrating the movement. Or suggest stomping their feet, squeezing a pillow, or pushing against a wall. If the situation involves a toy conflict, guide them toward using words. You might model the phrase, "My turn." And if your toddler isn't speaking much yet, that's perfectly okay. You can simply say the words for them so they begin to hear the language that expresses their needs. When these 3 steps work together, the moment changes completely. Instead of a cycle of hitting and no, you create a pattern that teaches skills. Block the action, name the feeling, guide the behavior. Imagine a toy conflict where one child grabs a truck and your toddler swings their hand. You step in gently and say, "I won't let you hit." Then you add, "You wanted that truck." Finally, you guide, Say, "My turn." Think about how toddlers learn to walk. They fall down hundreds of times before they take steady steps. Each fall isn't a failure, it's part of the learning process. Emotional regulation works the same way. It takes hundreds of repetitions for the brain to build strong pathways that support self-control and communication. While you repeat the 3 steps during emotional moments, there are also ways to reduce hitting before it even begins. One powerful strategy is understanding your child's limits. If you notice your toddler struggles during certain times of day, like late afternoon grocery trips, small adjustments can make a big difference. Another helpful approach is giving toddlers plenty of physical outlets during the day. Activities like carrying objects, climbing, jumping, and pushing things provide what researchers call heavy work. This type of movement gives deep pressure input to the nervous system, which helps the brain regulate and calm the body. When toddlers get enough of this physical activity, they're less likely to release pent-up energy through aggressive behavior. You can also practice emotional skills when your child is calm. Turn them into playful games. Pretend to stomp like dinosaurs when you're mad, or squeeze pillows together. These moments deposit tools into your child's emotional toolbox so they can use them when big feelings appear. And after a hitting incident, once everyone is calm again, there's one final step that strengthens everything you've taught: repair. Repair isn't forcing a toddler to say sorry when they don't understand what it means. That kind of apology often becomes a performance rather than genuine care. Instead, repair focuses on making things right. Once your toddler is calmed down, you might say, "You hit Maya, that hurt her. Let's check on her." Then model empathy by asking, "Are you okay?" After that, give your toddler a small way to help. You might ask, "Should we bring her a Band-Aid or her water bottle?" So, the next time your toddler hits, remember something important. You don't have a bad child. You have a child learning one of the most difficult skills any human ever learns: how to manage big emotions inside a small body. Yes, repeating yourself can feel tiring. Yes, those moments at the playground can feel embarrassing. But each time you block, name, and guide, you're quietly building something powerful inside your child's brain. You're creating a foundation that will support them through friendships, conflicts, heartbreaks, and every challenging moment they'll encounter as they grow. Because in the end, parenting isn't just about stopping behaviors, it's about teaching skills. We don't just stop hands, we teach hearts. So, the next time it happens, take a breath, block the action, name the feeling, guide the behavior, and trust that every one of those moments is planting seeds that will grow into the kind, emotionally aware human you hope your child will become.